Each one of us carries emotional imprints, some so deeply rooted that we no longer recognize them as wounds. These imprints are remnants of our earliest emotional experiences, often from childhood when our capacity to process pain was limited. Feelings of abandonment, emotional absence, or neglect during our formative years created invisible fissures in our inner world. Fissures that continue to echo through our adult relationships, the way we love and the way we perceive our worth. Unhealed. These early wounds unconsciously guide us toward familiar emotional territory. We find ourselves gravitating toward partners who reflect almost perfectly the dynamics of our childhood pain. Those who seem emotionally detached, elusive, or unable to meet us with presence and depth. Not because we enjoy the suffering, but because on some unconscious level, we're seeking resolution. We long to finally receive the love we missed, to rewrite history through different outcomes. Yet these reenactments rarely lead to healing. Instead, they become cycles of repetition, offering us the same heartache dressed in new faces. We tell ourselves that this time it will be different, that this person will be the exception, that our love, our patience, our giving will be enough to transform them. But what we're truly seeking isn't just a person, it's the emotional wholeness we never received. As children, we might have had caretakers who, though physically present, were emotionally distant. Their affection came with conditions, or perhaps it was entirely absent. We craved their attention and their warmth, but were met with coldness, silence, or indifference. Unable to make sense of the disconnect, we internalized the pain, embedding the belief that love must be earned or chased, that being overlooked was somehow our fault. Now, as adults, these unresolved patterns continue to influence our romantic lives. We seek affection not as something mutual, but as a test we must pass. We chase validation from those who can't or won't offer it, and we tell ourselves that if we could just love better, wait longer, give more, the void within would finally be filled. But it doesn't work that way. We aren't foolish for loving those who are unable to love us back. This isn't a reflection of weakness. It's the unconscious mind attempting to resolve trauma by replicating it, hoping for a different ending. The tragedy lies in how often we ignore that what we seek cannot be delivered by the people we choose. These people are incapable, not malicious, but emotionally unequipped to give us what we need. We give and give, hoping for reciprocity, but are met with silence or crumbs of affection. This leaves us feeling hollow, and worse, questioning our value. We begin to confuse emotional scarcity with the natural state of love. But love that truly heals isn't earned through suffering or sacrifice. It's freely given. It nurtures. It restores. Recognizing this dynamic is the first step toward liberation. We must see that our attractions are not accidental. They're echoes of unresolved grief. They are calls from the past luring us into familiar pain. And yet this recognition is powerful, because once we see the pattern, we can choose to stop repeating it. The journey of healing begins with returning to the source of the wound, not to relive it, but to understand it, to offer ourselves the compassion we were once denied. Healing requires that we stop outsourcing our emotional nourishment and instead turn inward, that we become the parent, the partner, the presence we always longed for. We can no longer expect others to fill a void they didn't create. The only one who can tend to the unmet needs of our inner child is us. And that requires self-validation, learning to affirm our worth regardless of external acknowledgement. We must shift from proving our lovability to embodying it. This doesn't mean isolating ourselves or closing off to love. It means no longer expecting wounded people to offer what they do not possess. It means understanding that the love we crave must begin within us, that we must become a safe home for our own heart. As we reclaim our worth, we begin to draw different kinds of connections, ones rooted in mutual care and reciprocity. We stop giving endlessly to those who can't receive. We stop performing for affection. We begin instead to honor our needs, to set boundaries, and to make space for relationships that mirror the love we've begun to give ourselves. Healing emotional wounds is not a linear path. It is a courageous act of reclaiming our inner narrative. It demands honesty, patience, and a deep willingness to confront our own patterns. But as we heal, the relationships we attract begin to change. We no longer chase, we receive. We no longer tolerate emotional starvation. We seek nourishment. We no longer give from emptiness. We give from overflow. The love we were always worthy of doesn't come from fixing others or enduring pain. It comes from remembering who we are beneath the wounds, whole, deserving, and already enough. We must also come to terms with the truth that emotional pain, when left unhealed, doesn't disappear. It simply becomes part of the lens through which we view ourselves and the world. When we are unaware of our inner wounds, we unconsciously construct our relationships around them. And without realizing it, we begin to mistake pain for love, absence for mystery, and emotional inaccessibility for strength. It's not that we want to suffer. It's that suffering feels familiar, and the familiar, even when painful, feels safe. There is comfort in patterns we've known since childhood, even when those patterns have kept us from feeling truly seen or valued. But it's time to break the illusion that this is the best love has to offer. Because love that makes you question your worth is not love. Love that drains you, leaves you anxious, guessing, or constantly proving your value. That is not love. That is a trauma response masquerading as romance, and we must stop romanticizing it. To break free, we must shift the narrative from, how do I get them to love me, to, why am I giving my love where it is not reciprocated? This shift is powerful. It takes the focus off of fixing or changing others and places it back where true healing begins with ourselves. We must also learn the language of emotional availability. A person who is emotionally available does not make you guess how they feel. They show up. They communicate. They listen. They care not only about how you feel, but about how their behavior affects you. You do not have to earn their love. It is given willingly, generously, and consistently. The tragedy for so many of us is that we've spent years confusing intensity with intimacy. We believe the highs and lows, the chaos and confusion are signs of passion. But true love is not chaos, it's clarity. It's not a roller coaster, it's a refuge. When we are finally willing to let go of the fantasy that someone unavailable will become available, we create space for someone who already is. When we stop pouring our energy into one-sided relationships, we reclaim that energy and redirect it toward ourselves. And that's when we begin to attract what is truly aligned with our healing and growth. The road back to emotional balance isn't always easy. It asks us to grieve what we didn't receive, to forgive those who couldn't love us the way we needed, and perhaps most painfully to forgive ourselves for the times we abandoned our own needs in the pursuit of love. But in that grief is freedom. We stop seeking closure from people who couldn't give us presents. We stop waiting for apologies that will never come. We stop rewriting history and start writing our future. And that future is one where we are no longer at war with ourselves, where we choose relationships not from desperation but from alignment, where we recognize that we are not too much or too little. We are exactly enough. And in that recognition, everything begins to shift. We begin to feel the difference between connection and attachment, between giving and self-sacrificing, between love and longing. We begin to build lives and relationships that nourish, not deplete. Because healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world convinced you that you were unworthy of love. As we step further into this healing journey, we begin to realize that boundaries are not walls to keep others out, but bridges that define where we end and where others begin. They are declarations of self-respect, invitations for mutual care and safeguards against the repetition of past wounds. For so long, many of us feared setting boundaries because we thought they might make us unlovable or rejected. But in truth, the people who truly see and value us will never be driven away by our need for respect. They will be drawn closer by it. Boundaries don't push love away, they protect it. And as we begin to embody this truth, we stop apologizing for our needs. We stop explaining away our pain. We stop shrinking to make space for others to feel more comfortable. We rise, we reclaim, we remember. In this space of remembrance, we return to ourselves. We begin to see that the love we have been chasing in others was always meant to reflect the love we must offer to ourselves first. We no longer chase, prove, or beg. We simply become, and in becoming, we attract. We attract partners who meet us with openness, who do not fear our depth, who are not intimidated by our standards. We no longer confuse attention with affection or intensity with commitment. We no longer stay in situations that feel familiar but hurtful, because we have changed the narrative. This is the quiet revolution of healing. It happens slowly, moment by moment, choice by choice. It happens every time we say no to what depletes us and yes to what nurtures us. Every time we walk away from the patterns that once imprisoned us. Every time we show ourselves the tenderness we once begged others for. Healing is not linear. There will be moments when the old pain whispers again, when the familiar ache resurfaces, when the pull of the past feels stronger than the promise of the future. But this time we will have the tools. We will know how to sit with ourselves, how to listen without judgment, how to soothe without shame. Because now we understand we are not broken, we are becoming. Let this be your reminder. The love you seek begins within. The peace you long for is already inside you. The healing you crave is not in their hands, it's in your own. You are not too damaged, too emotional, too complicated. You are growing, you are transforming, and most of all, you are worthy. Always were, always will be. As you breathe into this moment, know this. You are not here to earn love through sacrifice. You are here to receive love that recognizes your wholeness. The old patterns may have taught you to overgive, to overprove, but now you choose a different way. You choose healing. You choose balance. You choose love that nourishes you as deeply as you nourish it. Let the past inform you, not define you. Let the ache remind you of how far you've come, not how far you still need to go, and let every step forward be a declaration. I am worthy of love that sees me, hears me, and holds me with care.